Hi beautiful people out there, welcome back. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to integrate Paystack into your Next.js application, the React framework. To start with, let me go to Replit. Then I will need to create a template. I will search for Next.js. Then I click on it. Then I will need to change the title of the template. So I will name it Paystack NEXTJS. Alright, then I'll click on create repo. Alright, as you can see, our project has been successfully created for us now. So the next thing I will do now is to go to our style, then global CSS. So I want to replace the CSS we have here. And of course, I'm going to use a W3 CSS. So the next thing I will do, I want to create a new tab, then go to W3 tools.com, then look for W3 CSS. Then after that, so I want to get the W3 CSS source code. So I will just come here, grab this URL, then copy everything here, come back to Replit, then paste everything there. So we have our W3 CSS ready now. Then I can now close this tab. So I will now go to our pages, then click on this index.tsx file rather. Then I'm going to just remove what we have here, everything we have here. All right. Then also here, everything we have here also, I will remove there. So I can now start proper. So the next thing that we need to do now is to install Axios. So to install Axios, I will say npm install or I for install, then Axios. Alright, Axios is successfully installed now. Good. So the next thing we are going to do now, I'll still go back to Replit. Then I want to go to this template. So all our projects, our React project, I want to copy some codes there because we are not going to spend much time on this tutorial. So this one is not going to be on a series. It's not going to be a series type. So it's still part of the React series since Next.js is built on top of React. So all I will need to do, let me go to the template. Then on this pay file, so I'm going to copy some codes. For instance, we are going to need this. Let me copy this and paste it inside the component. Then let me go back. Then we are still going to make use of our this URL and the endpoints. We're not going to start everything from scratch. So I paste this here. Then also let me copy the Axios, then the function also. But before that, this is a form data. Let me copy that also. So paste it, then go back again. Let me extract the function here. And I paste it also. Let me expand this a little bit. Then our Axios. Let me copy the import here and paste it also. All right. Then our JSX aspect. So I'm gonna copy the code from here. In fact, let me copy the whole return part here so that we don't make a mistake. All right. Then let me remove this and paste it. Let's try to run the code and see. So let me copy everything here. Let me this again. Let me use this tab. Try to reload the browser. Alright, we're having some errors here. Okay, use state. We've not imported our use state here. The use state hook. Let me say import. In fact, let me copy from our React project so that we don't spend much time. So let me come here, then copy this, then go back, remove what we have already. Okay, let's see, let's compile. Okay, form data is not defined also. All right, we are having that issue. That is one of the aspects we need to look at. As it stands out, form data is a part of JavaScript web API, and form data is not included in native node.js. And the next.js is built on top of a node.js. So that's why it's not seeing this form data. And to make use of form data in next.js or node.js, what we need to do, install a package, and the package is called form data. So let's go to our shell now. Then I will say npm install form data. So let's try to install it first. All right. So form data is now successfully installed. So let's try to import it first. So we can now say var form data. Let's change this to capital letter. Data require, then have a form data. You can see now everything is working. Now we have our UI ready now because of this form data. So we've been able to change some things from our normal React project to Next.js. So form data is not supported by Node.js, and since it's not supported by Node.js, Next.js doesn't also support it. So that's why we're having those errors. So the next thing we are going to work on now is the routing aspect. If we go back to our React project, the ones we work on in the earlier videos, for the routing to the authorization page or the checkout page, we make use of window.location.href to route us to the checkout page. But in next.js, we have what is called a use router. So that is what we are going to use to route to the authorization page or the checkout page. So we import a use router. So as you can see, we've successfully imported it. Let me remove this. Import use router from next slash for router. So in our component, inside our component, then and here let's just have a variable called constant route here. And then we say use router. Yeah, this is going to be a function. So we call the function here. Then we copy this variable, and here where we have this window dot location dot href, then we remove it, then we say route dot push, and we can now copy what we have here and put it inside here, then we remove this. All right, so I think that's all we need to do now. So all right, so the next thing we need to do now is to go to our backend to make some changes. So for you to understand this, you need to watch the previous tutorials. So this is the initialize payment backend. I mean the API code. So as you can see here, so this is for React. So what we have here now, let me go back to the URL. We are still having some error here. Let me try to reload. All right. So I will copy this URL, then go back to our API. Then here, the URL we have here. So let me just remove that part since we are still going to create a verified page. Sorry, I don't know what is happening to. mouse. So let me just highlight this, then paste the new URL there. Let me remove this. So as you can see, we have our URL. Now let me copy this to be a new page. Let me go and create the page. So inside our page folder, then I'm gonna create this verify.tsx file. So okay, that one successfully created. So back to our backend or API. So we save this. All right, after saving it. So the next thing we need to do now is to log into our Paystack dashboard to make some changes in our callback URL feed. So let me grab this URL here and the endpoint. Then I want to log in to Paystack now. So let me create a new tab. Then I'll say paystack.com. So let me log in now. Alright, as you can see, I have successfully logged in into my Paystack dashboard. So all I need to do is go to Preferences, then Webhook and API keys, and let me go to the test section. So here, as you can see, we have a test callback URL. So what we copy from here, now we paste it here, and we click on Save Changes. So we've successfully updated that. Then we can come back to our URL. So I think we are done for that aspect. So for you to understand how we got here, I think you need to watch our React tutorial, because I don't want to recreate all these files and start coding. So I think this is the whole code. So as you can see, so I'm just showing in case you want to type everything out yourself so that you can easily, pause the video and code everything. All right, but don't forget you need to make use of your own test key, the one you generate from Paystack. Copy it and paste it here. So those are the two things that you need to update. So let's go back to our Replit, and then back to our index file. Okay, and let's try to fill in something. Okay, let me just put 1000 here as amount and click on the button. So you can see we are being routed. So everything is working now fine. So make very few changes to our React code. So we just try to refactor the code a little bit so that it suits a NEXTJS requirement. So few things that we changed: this form data and then the routes. So I think those are the things that we've actually changed so far based on our React code. All right, now let's move on to our verify page and component. So let me open the verify file in another tab. All right, so just like we did for our index page, we want to do the same thing for our verify page. So all I need to do now is to go back to our React project, the one we did earlier on, then click on verify page. Then we are going to copy. Okay, we don't use this React router DOM since we are not going to make use of React router DOM router. So since Next has its own routing system, so we are going to just copy this axios import and the use effect. We are going to be needing them. Let me paste it here. And also this a verify component. Then we copy this, copy everything, and then copy paste it. Then you can see that we're having some errors there. So the next thing we are going to do now, let me come back to our index page, copy this because we are going to need it. So and paste it here. Then we are going to remove this. we're not going to need this. Then we're not going to need this. Since next has its own routing, then I will remove this. Then I will remove this also. All right. Then what text? So now let me go back to our index page and then the file so that I can also copy this what we have here and I'll paste it here. All right. Then the next thing we are going to work on now inside our use effect, we say if out is what we are having here. Let's say if not dot is ready. This one must be inside your use effect. So it's not ready. We say return. Just like what we have here in 13 inside the in our React router, we say if SAS param dot has reference, then but in this case now we are saying that if the reference is not there, then you should stop executing. So we say return if it's ready. I mean if it's not ready, say return. Then we can now say now let me say const reference. Reference we're having here. Reference say equal route dot query dot reference. All right, the next thing we are going to do now, let's go back to our index page of file. Then where we have this form data, let me copy it and come back to our verify file. Then I paste it here. All right. So the next thing now, here now, we say route dot is ready and route dot query. All right. So the component will only render if any of this either is ready or a query changes. So now let's go up a little bit. So what do we have to include here? I think we are done here. So let's go back to refresh our browser. Let me refresh. Okay, let's try to go to our browser to see what is happening. You can see here type error cannot read properties of undefined reading customer. Okay, customer. We have our customer here. Let me try to remove this first. See what is happening. Go back. Let me move this up a little bit so you can see. Let me clean everything up and also refresh the browser. Okay, we are having message status false, message transaction reference not found. Okay, no transaction reference. Okay, let me on this aspect. And, let's try to alert first and see it's alert reference. All right, let's go back. Okay, undefined. So it's not seeing this our reference. For you to understand everything here, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, please try to go back and watch a previous video on our React. They are the same thing. So nothing. We are in fact we are using the APIs we use for React tutorial. As you can see here, the API we use here and also the verify also as you can see. So this is the API for verify. So how we are here. So we are using the same API. It's just the front end that is different. So we use here now we use React for this particular one. So we are also using it for next.js. So they are basically the same thing. So no difference here. So you can watch the previous tutorial on how we were able to code this verify API. So you can watch it and how we're able to insert into the database. So let's go back and try to fix the errors we are having. So here now we're having undefined. Okay, good. All right, undefined. Oh, we can see reference. This should be reference. Okay, misspelled the reference there. Let's go back. Okay, you can see we have our reference here now. The value. This is the reference that we are trying to get. The reference here, the value. So we've been able as part of the query string. So as you can see now, we have this value. So this is what we are trying to get here. This code here, reference query and route dot query dot reference. So we'll be able to get it, and that is what we are trying to pass here into our function. Then we pass it to as part of the value that we are passing to our form data. We append it to the form data. So this is what we send to our backend. Then the value, which of course is this. So if you look at our backend, so this is where we get it. You can see we use $_post, and then we pass it, and this will be sent to Paystack to verify if the payment was actually successful or not. Then Paystack will now return back some messages and data to us to confirm that the transaction was actually successful. So now I think we've been able to successfully get that. So what is the next thing? Okay, here we are having header. Let's put headers there. All right. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back again and try to. Okay, yeah, you can see now we have verification successful. Fairly. If we should go to our database, but before we go to our database, let's try to see what we have. That we can see the data we have back from Paystack. So all these ones I showed it. I explained it extensively in the previous tutorial, so I don't want to go over everything all again. As you can see, so where we get verification successful, you can see here the success message returned by Paystack. So the code is here. So how we're able to print that to the browser. So here, the code here, rest.message, rest.data, the customer first name. So that's it. Let's go back to the database and see if any data is actually inserted. So if you should click on the payment verification table here. So as you can see, we inserted some data to feed the table. As you can see, the total number of rows, we have 29 total. So let's see. Let's try to reload the browser and see if it will increase. Okay, let me refresh. All right, it's still showing the same thing. Okay, I think the issue is coming from our use effect. So let's try to remove this from our array dependency here and try to refresh once again. So, okay, let's refresh. Okay, I think it has already refreshed by itself. So let's go back to our database. Let me try to refresh the database. Of course, you can see we have in total now 30. So if I should refresh again, nothing happens. So let me try to put this back and try to refresh again. You can see it has refreshed by itself. So we have the data back, you can see. So let's go back to our database again. Try to refresh again. You can see we have 31. So let's refresh again. All right. So see we have 32. So that's it. You can see that being able to insert successfully into our database. So the code that does that from this aspect from here to here. So that's how we can go about initializing the payment and also verifying the payment. So this is the backend code. As you can see, let me try to increase that. So as you can see, backend code for verification. Then for payment initialization, so I think I've shown you before. I think I've shown this before. So I still want to show you so that we don't code everything from beginning again. So you need to change this the callback URL and your test key. Then our front end code. So this is it. So this is everything. So thank you so much for watching. Please, if this video has assisted you in any way or you benefited one or two things, please don't forget to like. And if you are new to my channel, please also try to encourage your boy. Hit that subscribe button